Hello. Uh, Today is October 19th, 2019. Hope that you're doing well. And actually, it's the evening of October 19th, 2019. And I still hope you're doing well. Anyway, something that we're going to talk about this evening is what do you know? Or rather, to ask ourselves a question, to ask myself that question. What do I know? When it's all said and done, and we've separated the fact from the fiction and the fantasy and the desires and all of it, and the conditioning, is that even possible? What am I left with? And maybe we can have some things come to mind. Well, I know this and I know that, and some of those ideas will have to do with maybe ourselves, our place in this world, the people around us, our family, the people that we consider friends and acquaintances, our country, our religion, our religious tradition, some of the ideas that we've kind of integrated into the ideas that we already believed, or the ideas that we already, quote, knew. So maybe we can, if we're asked that question, or we ask ourselves that question, what do I know? And we have a few things that, well, I know this and I know that. Okay, so let's just think about this. We're going to go on this exploration together because that's exactly what I'm doing over here. Really, really dissecting, or peeling back rather, not dissecting, really peeling back the layers of these things that we, that we believe. So one of the questions we can ask ourselves is there any fear attached to this belief? And maybe our instant reply to that would be no fear. But we have to remember that sometimes fear doesn't present as fear. Fear presents as something else. Fear doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to obviously be terrified, shaking in my boots, and it's going to be very apparent to me that this is something associated to fear. And we're not implying here that whatever your belief is or whatever my belief is rooted in fear or has elements of fear sprinkled in it. But it's just contemplation. That's what we're doing. So whatever it is, whatever the idea is, the way we can discover whether or not there are elements of fear associated with this particular belief that we're thinking about right now is if this thing, okay, this is just hypothetical here. We're going to go right back to it. We're not taking anything away from anybody. We're just thinking about this. If this belief somehow turns out to have been something that um, isn't exactly as I imagined it to be or I believed it to be. If this belief turns out to be something quite different than what I believe it to be, will I be okay? Is it, you know, what is that? What is that expression? Work as usual? I don't know, something like that. Am I going to be able to get up the next morning and get on with my life having this adjustment or change in my life? Okay, so, because the thing is that that is an important consideration because the things that we're attached to, we've talked about this before, right? Everything has energy. And things that have the energy of fear or threat to us, anxiety, those take energy from us to hold on to them. Okay? So everything that we hold on to, every idea, every situation, it's a tit for tat kind of thing. And we don't mean that in a necessarily a negative way, just in an it's a world of duality. It's an equalizing. And there is a coming together. It's much more than, oh yeah, I believe this. And then know that our beliefs become integrated into what we consider our person in this place. They become part of us. And you know that's true, or not you know that's true, but we can see examples of this because people who, when they're holding on to ideologies, say, really, really strong, and when it's attacked, you can see the reaction to it. You can, or when it's not even attacked, when it's questioned, or if something comes along that causes a person that makes a person think that that ideology is not basically it's just not, you can see in the emotion of people sometimes. This is not a judgment. This is just, we can think about that when we see people who are really, really heavily and deeply have these ideologies ingrained in them, and then the emotion that comes out. So you see a form of it, you see the attachment there, right? We can see that. And the reaction is just interesting to observe. So, and maybe we can even see that in ourselves. So, even the exercise, that first exercise we just presented, just saying, imagine now maybe you're a person who, for a fraction of a second, went there. And then you were just like, no, nope, 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 I'm not going there. I'm not going there. That's fine. That's our right. If that's something that we say, no, I'm not even going to try and open that can of worms or that book or that door or whatever you want to call it. I'm not going in there. Just leave it alone. Well, we absolutely have the right to do that. And we also have the right, if we so choose, to really consider where those feelings are coming from. So that's one way to at least have a true consideration. And not consideration meaning something you play with in your mind, but you're really not open, or we are really not open to real analysis. That's not consideration. To say, yeah, I'll think about this and that and the other, but I know deep inside of me, I'm not letting go of the thing. We're not saying that's a bad thing to do. We're just saying that that is not true consideration. True consideration is, somebody say, okay, lay it on me, put all the cards on the table, and I want to see what is. And um, whatever the consequences of it may be, I'd rather see what is than to see what I want to see, which may be imagined. So that's that. Um, and and so we'll move on now. I think we've gotten that point across. Also, at this point, we want to say that it even if there's not, after real consideration, even if there is an amount of discomfort to actually considering things that we haven't considered before in this way, that doesn't absolutely necessarily equal blah blah blah. Because any time, because we're creatures of we like familiarity. We like to settle in. It feels something like secure for us, and the things that we have become comfortable and familiar with, when we have a quiet moment where we can actually stop and consider seriously, how would I do if this thing turns out not to be what I imagined it or I thought or believed it to be? It's because we are those creatures that we described. If feelings of little agitation or discomfort come up, that doesn't necessarily mean, okay, you need to chuck that belief. No, no, no. In fact, that's absolutely not what we're saying. Because we have become so used to just walking the line, doing the thing, thoughtlessly sometimes, moving in society without stopping and considering very deeply, because there's just too much to do, too much going on, too much to think about, people to see and places to go. And we've just been on this, you know, almost kind of like a hamster wheel sometimes, with all there is to do. Before you know it, it's time to go to bed again and just go to sleep. And then the alarm rings and it's time to get up and do the whole thing again. So for many of us, there's not a whole lot of time for really deep reflective thought and contemplation on these things. So when we do go there, there may be a degree of discomfort, but that's okay. That's okay. We did a post a couple of years back, and it was talking about, we're all carrying stuff. We all have stuff, and some of the things that we have with us they're serving us and helping us. Um, and some of the things we're carrying with us are just, dead weight. And in that other post, we were just saying it's good to look. It's good to kind of look through the inventory of what we're carrying around with us. If for no other reason, then it's good to do for us. We do everything else for everyone else and every other institution and program and everything. Why do we not want to do this for ourselves, for our own being? First and foremost, we are the being. that's moving through this place. Before we're a mother, a father, a sister, a wife, a workmate, an employee, a blah, 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 blah. We're just a being. And to get back to that and really see, okay, what's going on in there? What's in there? And, what makes me tick? So, that's so it's good to have the willingness. We don't even want to say that's a judgment. It may be beneficial for us, for our well-being, to investigate these things. Yeah, that's what we're saying. We're not going to make this too long because it's already getting long. One other thing that we will mention having to do with what do I know? Asking ourselves that question has to do with how we see ourselves. And, as we move along, as we're growing, we're learning, things are coming up, especially the more open we are to really see and understand what makes us tick. If we're really serious in this endeavor, stuff's going to show itself to us. And maybe this kind of image, and not in a bad way, but just this idea that we had of ourselves it may not be exactly as we thought it was, and that could be a challenge. So I might be a person who says, I know that I am this kind of person. Well, lo and behold, I've become serious in my willingness to see what is the thing that makes me what I believe I am in this place. And lo and behold, life is in different ways. It's coming up and it's showing me, yeah, there's that little thing right there. Just you said you wanted to see it, and we're showing it to you. So there you go. No judgment, no anything. Just there you go. You're welcome. And so, sometimes those things are, they're not benefiting us. And myself, I am discovering such a thing right now. That's why it's coming up in this post. But the truth of it is, it came to me recently. I won't say exactly how recently, but recently. And initially, it kind of slapped me upside the head like a bag of bricks. I was like, what the hell? No. What? No, really? Our first knee-jerk reaction is, yeah, no, that can't be. But then it's like, okay, wait a minute. Come on, draw back. Really try to be objective about this and look at it. And I said, ooh. And it's so funny because sometimes we resist that. It's like, I don't want to be this kind of person. I don't want to have that kind of trait. That's, no, I don't, that makes me this, that, and the other. But we also don't want to pass judgment on whatever the thing is that we discover. Because knowing what is good for us, even if it doesn't feel good. It's good to know what is. And so a few hours went by, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around this thing, like, gee whiz, can this be true? Can this be true? Okay. All right, so let's just say yes, this could be true. And then just kind of easing into it. But I got to tell you that at the end of it, and really, really serious consideration of it, it's kind of a relief. um, to see what is. So, anyway, this might be the first of a couple of parts because I feel like there's more, but I'm ready to retire here. I'm kind of, you might hear it in my voice, kind of croaky right now. But anyway, so those are just a few things that we were thinking about, wanted to share, and hopefully something resonates with someone, or maybe you'll find this to be beneficial in some way. And until next time, we wish you much love. Bye.